ladies and gentlemen, or good day or good morning, depending on what time we release this video. No, this isn't an Ohio State podcast, but it is 4th and 10U. And today is another episode. We are going to be breaking down Ohio State versus Grambling State. Yes, first time ever meeting between both parties. But before we get started, as we do on every episode here on 4th and 10U, make sure that you first hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, turn on the notification bell, because we're going to try to do maybe three episodes a week. That's what we're shooting for, right? Make sure you check out every episode because there's going to be a lot of content coming. And as usual, I have a brand new special guest. Everybody, give a warm welcome to Mike Best. What is up, Mike? Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Listen, I know a lot of the fans and people are watching at home. They may not know who you are. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm just a regular guy who likes sports. Usually in the spaces all the time with you. We're talking about Dolphins. I'm a big Dolphins fan. Also, my family's from Ohio, so I'm a big Ohio State guy. Pretty much I can talk about football. That's just what I like to do. Pretty knowledgeable. Not a professional, but I'm a fan, and I like to talk ball. And you hit me up, and I was like, oh, this is a good opportunity. So I'm excited to talk with you.
Definitely. I listen, I like talking ball. I'm not an expert. I just like talking about it. I like talking about what we think is going to happen in the game. We give praise where it's praise is due. We give critique where critique is due, right? But yeah, so you're from Ohio. I have family from Ohio. Naturally, we're both Ohio State fans. But this matchup, I think, is going to be a lot different, right? I think this is the first meeting ever between both programs. Now, do understand that Ohio State has had several matchups against other FCS programs, such as Youngstown State. I want to say we played them like 3 times in one. And I want to say the other time we played it was against Florida A&M. That was a big one. 2013, I think it was like 70-0 or something, or 76. Yeah, rings a bell. That could be it. But that those games we averaged, I want to say, against HBCU teams, we have averaged about 44.5 points, give or take, by who's counting, per game. So is this what we're going to ask tonight is this matchup going to be a similar story? Is it going to be an Ohio State blowout, right? Those are the things that we're going to find out tonight. But I want to really kind of like talk, set a scene of what's coming on, in this game, what to expect, and we'll break it down. All right. That's kind of where I want to go here. With that being said, yeah, let's break it down. All right. So we're going to break down this game. And the first thing I want to talk about, like I said, is this is the first ever matchup between both storied programs, right? Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. Grambling State Tigers, right? They launched, I believe they got started back in 1928, have been long have been a pillar in college football, right? They're very historic when it comes to college football. They've competed in the FCS. They've been, member of I believe it's the SWAC. That's what I call it. The Southwestern Athletic Conference, I think is what it is. It SWAG? I don't know.
I like that. It's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny though. But they've been a part of that since 1958, right? They have had several pro players come out of that program. Hundreds and hundreds of students have really been in professional sports. And if they weren't in professional sports, they were doctors, businessmen, lawyers, teachers, all these different types of professions that they've been very, very successful at. So and they bring a lot of and this is a term I'm starting to coin phrase, right? They bring football heritage, right?
Yeah.
Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas, we'll even say teams like Alabama or even Grambling State, they bring football heritage. And what that means is they have some type of history that really makes their mark in the game, right?
Right.
So that's kind of my thought process on Grambling State and where they've come from, and you've said that, you've near where you're at, you've watched UNLV, and that's one of their competitors that they go up against.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you know about Grambling.
Honestly, not too much. I know, like you said, they're historic. They have a long background, a long pedigree of like football teams, and also they're pretty good. They have a pretty good band, I heard. Not too much really else about them. I know they're coming to Vegas to play UNLV, I think, or they did in the past because I just recently read an article about them. But that's as much as I know really about them. I think this is going to be a game for Ohio State to make a statement. Like I don't think this is going to be like a close game, but we'll save that for that, I guess.
I mean, look, they have legendary coaches and legacy that they've had. Eddie Robinson is probably one of the biggest ones. From 1940, he led the program from 41 to 1997, right? Amazing, amassing around over 400 victories, over 55 seasons, one of the most legendary coaching tenures in history. If you haven't watched or knew who Eddie Robinson was, go check out Eddie Robinson material. Go look up on YouTube, look up Eddie Robinson. There's a lot of videos out there. You learn a lot about their history and the heritage, the football heritage he brought, right?
For real, I will.
Exciting. Good. What did you say, Mike?
Oh no, I said for real. I'm going to do that after the show. I'm going to check him out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. There's some good stuff there. I was kind of impressed in what he was trying to accomplish and the type of coach that he was. I think that's something that I find distinctive, especially with coaches that really mark the football heritage, as I like to call.
Right.
Guys like Nick Saban, guys like I'll even say God, what was his name? He was the creator of the West Coast offense. Why can I not think of his name?
Oh yeah, Seifert.
Seifert is one of them, but that's Bill Walsh.
Bill Walsh.
Guys like Bill Walsh, guys like Nick Saban, Ryan Day, Lou Holtz is another one. Guys like that mark their history in football heritage. Eddie Robinson is part of that, and they have a certain swagger, a certain way of being a human or being a person that I really appreciate when it comes to college football history and what they bring to the game. Right, I respect it. Is basically what I'm saying. Now,
good to know about them.
Yeah, so just a little bit more about it. So not only did he amass over 400 victories over 55 seasons, Grambling State is tied in HBCU history for the second most national championships that they've won. Right? Yes. In addition, they have success in their conference, 27 conference titles, including 26 in the SWAC, making them one of the most dominant programs in the conference, right? In the FCS playoffs, they've appeared 3 times, but hold an 0-3 record. So FCS playoff history, they're not doing the best. In Division II, their sole appearance featured a 1-1 record, win over Western Kentucky, and a loss in the semis. So just so you're aware of that. Some notable alumni. Let's see. They have Doug Williams. Let's see. Who else do they have? Hall of Famers such as Willie Brown, Buck Buchanan, Charlie Joyner, and obviously Coach Eddie Robinson himself. Other famous alumni, Willis Reed. He was a legendary NBA player. Bodybuilder Ronnie Coleman, if you're into bodybuilding, and
Yeah.
wrestler Ernie the Big Cat Ladd. Definitely some famous alumni there.
Interesting.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, I said that's interesting. A lot of good players there.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it's really interesting what they bring. Now, so we've talked about who are Grambling, but let's actually talk a little bit about their players, right? That they currently have on the team. Now, from what I've gathered, in the information that I have currently, their quarterback, and I apologize if I don't pronounce his last name correctly. I want to say his name is Xavier Tisset. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
He amassed 203 yards. He went 20 for 25 last week with 3 TDs, so that was pretty nice.
Not bad.
Their running back Trey Bradford, 56 yards on 6 carries. And their leading receiver is Tyson George, 63 yards and a touchdown. These numbers align with coverage noting T-Sit's efficient performance, 20 for 25. That's actually pretty good, to be honest. So I'm very, impressed with that. They had a big win over Langston. They won 55-7. So, some high scoring game there. Look, they started 1-0. We're 1-0. We had one of the biggest week 1 matchups ever against Texas. It was elite defense versus elite defense. And basically what we played was let's just hold, let's see who can hold the best ground and just, wait it out. Because we knew they weren't going to score. They knew we weren't going to score. We just had to hold on. And that's basically what we did. And it won the game. Right.
Yeah, I
So
thought Jeremiah Smith was a little frustrated. He was open a couple times and he was missed down the field, but I think Julian Sin did just enough to win the game. I think this game he's going to have a lot more breakout where I think he's going to make up for the stuff that he missed last week. So
yeah, definitely. I think what's going to happen when it comes to Grambling and what I think they're going to do, they're probably going to play very tight defense. They're going to try to hit the gaps, stop the run, right, and hope for the best. I kind of think that's what's going to happen. I don't expect them to really start blitzing us and coming after Julian Sane, even though he's still green. He's raw, fresh, really fresh still, right? I personally don't expect it because of what they have. Offensively, we still have a lot of weapons and everything. So it'll be kind of interesting what happens. But
do you think they're going to try to run the ball more, Ohio State, this time, or do you think they're going to try to pass more?
Well, when we get into it, and this is actually kind of going into the next question is,
my bad.
Ohio State, is it going to be a tune-up or no? That's the topic. Is this a tune-up game for us or no?
I think it is. I think we're going to go in there and work on some things that went wrong last week. I think Caleb Downs, or what's his name? Yeah, Caleb Downs is going to have a pretty big game. And then I think Jeremiah Smith is going to get wide open down the field a couple times. I don't think their corners can hang with our receivers. And then I think it's going to be a well-balanced game, run and pass. They're going to try to – so, yeah, I think it's the definition of a tune-up game. I think it's going to be – they're going to work on running. They're going to work on some stuff that they thought that went bad last week, and they're going to try to get better this week, and then get ready for much – and no disrespect to Grambling, but I think that they're going to get ready for more tough competition going up, and they're going to use this game to get ready for those games.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think what you're going to see personally is a lot more of a balanced offense in this game, right? I think they're going to use this game to maybe try out some newer things, but also tighten up on the stuff that maybe didn't work against Texas, right? We want to make sure we kind of get that running game kind of a little bit more honed down. I kind of felt we let Texas kind of get away with some runs that I don't feel like we should have. and we got to max up the protection, give a little bit more time for plays to develop. But at the same time, I want to see some better catching by our tight end. Claire, who was one of the better tight ends that was available. It's in the transfer portal. Everyone said this guy was supposed to be the best, and he drops the first pass that was wide open. Granted, bombed it out to JT. We probably should have done that because I think he would have had a better pass catch, but they were both open. I don't blame Julian Sand for taking that route to Claire, because to be honest, he was supposed to be solid. He was wide open. It would have extended that drive, and who knows, we may have scored again.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there is that. So I don't think that I personally, if I'm Ohio State, respect Grambling, but not because because they're a real big force. I just think because the historical nature of who you're facing, don't let that get past you. Respect, take care of business. Don't try to showboat. Just foundational, simple football, balance it out, right? But at the same time, you could add a little flair here or there. You know what I mean? To kind of see if things work. I think that can happen. I'll get down to my prediction later on. I have a certain way I feel about this game, so I'll get to later on. But that's kind of how I feel that what's his name? Why can I not think of his name? I think our offensive coordinator is
Brian Hartline. Yeah,
Brian Hartline. Why could I not remember that? Brian Hartline,
former Dolphin.
Yeah, he's former Dolphin and probably one of the best recruiters in the country.
Yeah, I think so.
Brian Hartline, I think this would be a good game to really show what he has. Yeah. But at the same time, I think he needs to show that when things aren't necessarily working his way, he takes care of business, right? They mentioned people felt in the Texas game that Ryan Day kind of big brothered him. You know what I mean? He was on the phone and say, hey, they're doing this. Let's just run it my way. We're just going to run the whole time.
Yeah, I think so.
Kill the clock, and we'll take the field coverage as much as we can. I think that's what he did. And if that's the case, then that's cool that he took over and we won the game. But Grambling, I really need to see him. I need to see Brian Hartline show me what he can do.
Right. It'll be a little concerning if they play the same way against the lesser competition, because I'd be more worried when they play. I know Texas was supposed to be a really good competition, but you never know, like when you come into the bigger games against, the Big Ten and like Penn State or Michigan or games like that,
Yeah, I mean, look, the next two games, Grambling, which is tomorrow at 3, and then you have Ohio at 7 p.m. on Peacock. Yeah. Both of those games, you really need to hone down on your skills, your fundamentals. You need to, whatever you got going on, you need to break that habit and get ready, because come Washington, which is September the 27th, that's going to be your first test. Yeah. Washington, even though I kind of feel they're in the mud right now, they're a team to really, that couldn't, do something. They're not far off from having a national championship run. You know what I'm saying? So that's why. And then you have an okay, maybe an easy game against Minnesota, but then you got Illinois coming up, and then you got Wisconsin, and then you got Penn State. Those 3 games alone is going to be a tough, back-to-back, at least almost a road game, because the Washington's a road game. Illinois is a road game, and so is Wisconsin.
That's a tough stretch.
It is a tough stretch. We don't have like a slew of like multiple home games until we get to Purdue and UCLA or in Rutgers. That's it. Actually, Purdue's an away game. I was wrong about that. Purdue's an away game. So it's just UCLA and Rutgers that you have at home before you got to face Michigan. So I just want us to take care of business, figure out the fundamentals. Don't try to do anything too fancy, but fix what needs to be fixed and get it done. That's kind of what I'm looking at.
We don't want to see Jeremiah Smith frustrated down the field this game, that's for sure.
No, I think he's going to blow up, to be honest. I think he's going to kind of show off just a little bit. We'll see what happens there. But let's get on to the next talking point here. The next thing, the offensive teams, we kind of rushed into it a little bit. Do you think the running game is going to be more dominant, or is it going to be more dominant passing, or do you think it's balanced?
I think, like what you said, I think it's going to be more balanced. I think they're going to use this game to work on the balance. So they're going to see what works, what doesn't work. Um, I'm not trying to disrespect the competition because I think they're going to show respect, but I think they're going to work harder on having a more balanced attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a little more balanced. I do like CJ Donaldson a lot. I like what he's done. You can tell he's definitely that power back. Peoples is a little bit more finesse, just a little bit. But I think they both have talent. I think that's one area that I kind of want to see these running backs and see what they really got.
Yeah,
Right?
we didn't really see too much last game.
No, I want to see the offensive line open up the holes. Let's see these guys see what they got in the tank. Kind of see what's going on there.
If you think
That's,
about Matt Patricia, the job he did.
oh, defensively, I don't think there's much to fix at all, to be honest. Even I mentioned a little bit in the maybe behind the scenes or even earlier on, the running game. We let them run just a little bit, but I want to say I think it was by design. I think it was by design. Don't bend, don't break, or bend but don't break.
A little bit of the rope-a-dope, like let them get down there and then beat them up.
Yeah. It was kind of to confuse the coverage, I think, in a little bit, because you look at what Matt Patricia was doing. He was bringing an NFL defense to the college game, and this is something they don't see very often. They don't see this. So, to be honest, it was masterful by Ryan Day hiring Matt Patricia because everyone thought that Matt Patricia was going to run the Jim Knowles defense. And at this point, everybody is running a form of Jim Knowles defense at some point, right?
A lot of people were down on Arch Manning, but they're not taking into account the defense that we had with Patricia. So I'm interested to see what he does this week also.
Yeah. A lot of people are down on Arch Manning, but I beg the question: whose fault is that, though? Mm-hmm. Is it Arch Manning and his camp's fault because of all the hype that everyone brought? Is it the media's fault? Some people are blaming the media, making him to be too big of a player than even what he was. And maybe that's true. Maybe it is part of the media's fault. Ultimately, though, I blame Steve Sarkisian. I think Steve Sarkisian decided to play more conservatively in the first 3 quarters, and that's what hurt him. You noticed in the fourth quarter when he opened it up, started having motion left and right, trips on one side, different formations, playing much faster. That game started turning around, and they were, Arch Manning looked like the Arch Manning we were kind of expecting, right? So there's that. He was kind of rattled a bit, to be honest, at least in the first 3 quarters. But that doesn't mean I don't think he can be good. I think he needed the tune-up games. Like if he was going up against a Grambling or Ohio or whatever, I think it would be good for him, right?
Yeah, I agree. That's what I think Julian Sayin is going to have a good game on this game too. I think, he did all right, but he wasn't asked to do too much. He wasn't. Jalen Hurts-esque,
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, listen, this is kind of what I would say about Julian Sayin. Much better than what I expected him to do, right? I mentioned this in another episode. The kid ended up with 126 yards. I want to say he was like 13 for 20, something like that, in a touchdown. He didn't turn over the ball, so that was number 1. All right, check. He did create first downs, at least 2 every other drive, so check there. He didn't try to win the game for us. That was a hell of a throw to Carnell Tate, so that I'll give you that. He didn't look rattled. That was the thing. It didn't look like he was like, oh my God, timeout. You know how you see quarterbacks sometimes do that. You go watch the Florida State Alabama game again. That quarterback, I'll be honest, he looked like he was kind of rattled a bit in that game. There was times I was like, oh my God, they got to get that guy out of there.
Yeah.
To be honest. This guy, he didn't look too bad. I think he has a very strong arm. He was poised in the pocket, and he basically let the game come to him. And I think in a game like this, he's gonna, fix some mechanics. little things here and there. And I think you're going to see a little bit of allowance by Ryan Day and Brian Hartline to allow him to open it up a little bit. I think you're going to see him make those throws a little bit. Maybe you'll even see him make some calls at the line of scrimmage to change the play in audibles. So
Right.
what do you think? What do you think about Julian Sand, and where do you think he's going to go?
No, I was pleasantly surprised. Like, he's a lot better than I thought he was going to be. I think he's going to have a pretty good game this game coming up, and I think he's going to have a good season. I think as the season goes on, he's going to get more comfortable, and he's going to get, even though he looked comfortable against Texas, I think he's just going to get better going from there. So, like, that was like his baseline. I think he's just going to continue to rise, like, as we go forward. You know, I think he's better than what's the quarterback from last year? I'm drawing a blank.
The quarterback last year for Ohio State?
Yeah,
Will Howard.
Oh yeah, Howard. Like, I think he's going to be better than Howard. So I know it's saying that from like one game, but just like some of the throws that he made and some of the poise that he showed, and I know he missed Jeremiah down the field, but like, I think that once they build that chemistry on more games, I think he's going to be really good. Like,
yeah, I want to say this. I personally think that Will Howard's a different type of quarterback than Julian Sand. So for me, it's hard to say that he's better than the other because I think it's like two different styles. Like, to give you an example, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts are two different styles of quarterbacks.
Right.
Will Howard, to me, and this is my opinion, is more of a Josh Allen, whereas Jalen Hurts is more of, I'll give you maybe he's maybe kind of like a Drew Brees style, more calmer, has a big arm, can move, run if needed.
Yeah.
He's a little bit different. He's a little bit different. I think he's a little bit more balanced quarterback, to be honest. Instead of just having a cannon and you can run, he can make the short to intermediate throws. He can make the bomb, but he can also run the ball if he needed to. He's a little bit more athletic. That's what I'll give you when it comes to Julian Sand. But I think let's be real. Julian Sand, just like Arch Manning, were number one in their class recruiting when it comes to quarterbacks, right? They were in two different classes, both number one QBs. One went to Alabama, the other one went to Texas. Nick Saban left Alabama, so that's why Julian Sand transferred to Ohio State. Right. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be really exciting how he develops and how he absorbs the game, I should say, right? And the other flip side of it is, if you know Ryan Day's history, his quarterbacks that he's coached over the years, it seems like when he has a new quarterback that takes the stage, they get better and better as the year goes on. The only exception to that, I would say, is maybe Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord, he seemed to be like the same quarterback throughout the entire year.
Yeah.
However, something happened to him. He may have had a come to Jesus moment when he went to Syracuse, but in Syracuse, he was much better. I think it was because of the hype and the what's at stake when you're a Buckeye, right? Being a Buckeye is not easy. You and I know this. You know, and you probably heard me say it in the Twitter spaces or the message chat groups we're a part of. You've probably heard me say that Ohio State, when you go there, it's all about winning. It doesn't matter about anything else. Win, baby, win. That's it. And if you don't win, you're shit. We hate you. Get out of town. Ryan Day talked about it this season, about how he had death threats against his family when they didn't beat Michigan. He had to have police at his house 24/7. That stuff is scary, right? Yeah. That's what the pressure you get when you come to Ohio State. It's about winning. Nothing else matters. Doesn't matter. Just win. Right?
No excuses.
No excuses. And see, that's something I kind of wish we had in our professional fan base for our team. I wish we had that mentality. Unfortunately, it's not quite there yet, but I hope we can hope. We'll see what the season brings. But that's kind of what Ohio State is about. Now, I didn't know, if you didn't know, the Grambling State coach got interviewed, and he made some comments that was kind of funny when he was asked about, hey, what do you make of the matchup with Ohio State? and he said, well, they have a band, but so do we, right? He made comments like that. Now,
Correct.
granted, you don't want to give out your true feelings. You don't want to hurt what you got going on with your players and their mentality. And you don't want to say, oh yeah, we're gonna go there and kick their ass and put the pressure on your own team. And you don't want to say, oh, we respect them, and you don't want to put pressure that way either, right?
Mm.
So he kind of made light of it. I get it. I kind of thought that it was kind of funny because he's not wrong. You know, Ohio State has the best damn band in the land,
Right.
whereas Grambling State has a historically great band that has featured in several events, especially Super Bowls, right? People may not know that. They've played in several Super Bowls. So I just thought that was kind of cute, and not really cute, but like it was like, I see what you did there. You know what I mean? Kind of moment.
Yeah, that's funny. I think he was trying to make light of like the big situation that he's in.
Yeah,
Because,
try and make it smaller. Exactly.
right, because coaches are getting nervous too, you know. And I think like he realizes how big this is, and also Ohio State, that just win baby win thing is not just for the football team. It's the band is that too. You know, they want to be the best in everything that they do. So I think I think he was just being lighthearted about that because he's kind of nervous and he didn't know what else to say. Because he's not going to say we're going to go out there and kick their butt, you know, in football. So he had to make something else up about like what's going to happen off the field, you know, to kind of maybe give himself an even playing field on that level. But you know,
So let me ask you this: we're talking about the Ohio State side, and I know you're more of an Ohio State fan. Like, is there a player that surprised you in the last game? And who's your like sleeper or star to be born that you think is gonna come out of the shell and surprise everybody this year?
I'm going to say for sleeper, I think Sonny Styles, the linebacker. I think like he's my sleeper. I think he's going to be really good. Um, he really surprised me in the last game. I think they're gonna like, you know, I think he's gonna be the next big thing coming out of there. Jeremiah Smith, I thought he kind of surprised me in the other way. Like he didn't have the game that I thought he was gonna have. Like, but that Julian saying, or was that the game plan going in? You know, I thought he was gonna like show up because that was a big game, and so I thought there were gonna be a lot more plays downfield. Devin Sanchez is another one who's good.
I
The corner.
like me some Devin Sanchez. I really like me some Devin Sanchez. I think he's going to end up being um, a standout stud number one corner. Like you're
Yeah.
on my Sanchez island, and you know what? There's nothing you can do about it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I think
yeah.
that's the type of corner he's
I
going to
think
be.
he's a rising star too. So those are my players, and of course Caleb Downs. You know, everybody knows he's great, but
So yeah, Caleb Downs, one of the best safeties in the game. Hot take: if he does come out in the next draft cycle, I do expect Ohio State. If we're looking for safeties, he has to be the number one guy on the board.
yeah,
For you, if you're looking for safety, yeah, I personally don't think that's what we're going to be looking for. But if that was the position, he's number one at that position.
yeah. I pray that that's what we're looking for, but
I get it. That's
I
another
know,
story.
you're not a Tua guy, but you know I'm one that thinks Tua is going to be here next year. So
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think his time is limited, though. I think his
yeah,
time is coming up. That's what
for
I
sure.
think. This is where I will say though. Um, I do think that CJ Donaldson in the end of it is going to be the top running back we have here. I'll give you that. I already know I'm wearing number 4 for a reason. You know, I'm a big JT guy. I
Yeah,
think even JT in that game they could have still done what they were doing where they got him inside, running up the middle. He could have still caught passes, right? But at
right.
that point, it was kind of like, let's just run the ball. Well, we don't need to do this. We just need to kill the clock, run the ball. There's no point, right? So I understood why they kind of like took him out of the game. But I mean, even though he was still there,
Yeah,
um, I still think he's going to be strong. He's going to still do similar stuff that what he did last season. I'm not worried at all. I'm really not. Now, Star, you took my thunder a little bit because I'm a big Devin Sanchez kind of guy.
sorry,
But
we're right there.
I will give you a star that may not be a star this year, but he could start to develop into a star next year or the year after. Trevion St. Clair.
Yeah.
You know who I'm
I
talking
can
about?
see it.
St. Clair. It is Trevion though. Maybe I'm wrong with the name. Hold on one
Yeah,
second.
Travion, I think.
It is Trevion, I think. Yeah, Tavian St. Clair. I'm sorry, Tavian. I always screw up his name. I always call him Trevion, but it's Tavian. Tavian St. Clair. Tavian St. Clair is one of the better quarterbacks coming out in his recruiting cycle class. He's here. I'm kind of excited for him because I think he's a star in the rising. The guy in high school made plays all over the place. He has field vision that I would say that some like only very few quarterbacks, even in the pros, have, right? I think he has that type of vision. And I think he can be that dynamic type of quarterback that you need him to make something happen. He could make it happen. He does remind me of Jalen Hurts a little bit. He does remind me a little bit of him. It's actually kind of weird. Both him and Julian Sayin both kind of remind me of Jalen Hurts. In watching their high school tape and some of the things that they do well and stuff, I could see them being that type of player.
Yeah.
I just think that when it comes to athleticism, field vision, making something happen out of nothing, I can see Tavian St. Clair doing that.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts. I know it's not a star for this season, but you took my thunder with Devin Sanchez because I'm a huge Sanchez fan.
Well, that should get fans excited because we're both on the same page with him because he's going to be really good.
What'd you think of the linebacker that was giving hell to Arch Manning and everybody?
Yeah, right.
You know who I'm talking about? What do you think about
him? Sure. I'm sorry?
What did you think of the linebacker that was giving hell to Arch Manning?
Oh, yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
I can't remember I don't think the name off the top of my head, but I know we've given him hell all night, so.
Yeah, I'm not the best with names. But I want to say the defense I think is going to be really good. We'll see. I do like Sonny Styles. He has a very talented brother too.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of excited for it. So, last question. Buckeye blowout. Is it going to be a blowout? Is it not? What's your projection?
Yeah, I'm predicting I'd say like 42-7, somewhere around there. I think it's going to be respectable as far as blowouts go, but it's still going to be not even a close game. You know what I mean? Like it might be like 28-7 at halftime or something, and then they just blow them out like at the end in the second half. I think that offense is not going to be able to score on our defense, and I think that Julian Sayin is going to try to make up for some missed passes that he missed, and he's just going to put a highlight reel out there. So I'm really excited to watch that. Like that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. So I just I think the Ohio State offense is really going to come out of its shell in this game. I think the defense is going to hold it down still. What was your final projection? What was it one more time?
42-7.
42-7. I like that. I'm going to go 49-10. That's what I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to give 10 points to them. But it's probably not going to come till later on in the game, to be honest.
Right.
So that's kind of where I think.
Which band do you think is going to have the better halftime show?
Which band? Oh man, I think they're both good. I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to end in a tie.
Yeah, it's a.
They're both really good. Ohio State does all the fancy stuff that we do, but I think in the end it's going to be a tie. I think they're both very talented, both historically great. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, last but not least, you talked about stars. Reese is the linebacker I was thinking of.
Reese, yep.
Marvell Reese. And the other person that I think is gonna be good this year, I think he's gonna kind of maybe slid himself to being a very high draft pick. Igben Nosen looks really good this year.
Yeah, he does.
Last year he was known for He was too raw. He was causing penalties, pass interference stuff a lot. He just seems like he's honed down and knows what he has to do. In that game, he held it down. He took care of business.
Yeah.
And
I
I
was
was
really impressed with our secondary for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right. Enough with the breakdown as we always do over here. Yeah. The bottom line, right? The bottom line. What is your bottom line for tomorrow's game?
Bottom line is that we can't come out and not be impressive tomorrow. Like it has to be an impressive showing. We have to show that last week we played a really good team, but we didn't show our best in offense or defense was great. I'm not gonna. There's really not too much we can impress or we can fix on defense, but our offense needs to go and show out. I think if we don't go out there and put up 28 points in the first half, I'm gonna be disappointed. So.
Yeah, I think I'll be disappointed too if we don't. If we're not putting up 28 points in the first half, I kind of think we shit the bed, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. Like if it's like 10-0, I'm going to be like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah, I get you. I still think it's going to be 28-0 by halftime for sure. I'm pretty positive of that. Or 28-3, something like that is what I'll give them. But the bottom line for me is fundamentals, right? Take care of what didn't go well during Texas game, fix those issues, and open it up a little bit. Show me what you got, right? Let's see Julian Sand throw the ball around. I don't want to hear about his gloves aren't catching, so we got to go and pull the gloves and swap gloves. I don't want to hear about that kind of stuff. I want about like, all right, we're focused, we're back on it, right? I want to see us just take care of business and win the game. Win, baby, win.
And Ryan Day let Hartline do his thing. Let him get in his bag a little bit, get some confidence.
Oh yeah. If he doesn't use these games to gain experience in those situations, then what are we doing here? Why do we even have an offensive coordinator? Why did we promote Hartline? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But bro, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate
Thanks
you
for having
here.
me. We got to do it again.
Definitely. You want to tell everybody at home where people can find you?
Not anyone really. My name is Mike Best on Twitter. I'm just a fan. Hanging out. You can see me all over, but you'll see me in different spaces and doing different things. But
I gotcha. If you ever come over to the fans tailgate or follow me on Twitter, you'll notice that we're in spaces and stuff. Come on into spaces. Come talk ball with us. We talk a lot about Miami Dolphins, but we talk about all sports, to be honest. So even college football. But let's talk about one quick thing when it comes to I want to say this week specifically. Let me pull that up. I wanted to look at who's playing and get some quick fire predictions from you. You have Illinois versus Duke. Illinois is a team poised to kind of compete with the Big Ten. I think they might have an interesting year this year. They're number 11 ranked. How do you think they're going to do against Duke?
Yeah, I think they'll beat them. Probably say 28-17, somewhere around there. It's not going to be a huge high-scoring game, but.
What about the Iowa versus Iowa State rivalry? Me and Mystic talked about that in the last episode.
I got to go Iowa. Even though Iowa, they didn't look too good in the first week, did they? I didn't really see them.
Iowa won, but let me tell you about lopsided winning, right? Iowa only had like 15 yards of passing, and that's legit.
That's what I heard.
They had 310 yards rushing. Talk about commitment to the run. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's, to me, that was kind of interesting.
If it works, it works, but
yeah, if it works, it works, I guess. You're absolutely right. Look, for me, Oklahoma State versus Oregon, that's going to be a big matchup. I kind of think Oregon's probably going to win. However, Oklahoma State might surprise people. Every once in a while, they surprise people. It'll be interesting what happens there. Here's one, and this was the last one we'll talk about before we end the show. South Florida beat up on Boise State last week. Not just did they beat up on Boise State, they humiliated them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? And now they have to go up against the Gators. Who do you got in that matchup?
Did you hear that their quarterback got hurt or he's out or something like that? I saw somebody posted that earlier.
Lagway?
No, for South Florida.
For South Florida? Let me look real quick. I have not heard that. Let me just verify that.
Somebody put that on one of our spaces that we're in on the Jumbotron, we call it. Like they put like that he's out or something, or somebody's out from Florida.
Looking right now.
But if he's not out, then I got either way. I got the Gators winning that game.
So Byram Brown, who's the quarterback of South Florida, he does have an injury, but he's considered to be day-to-day.
Okay.
So that's interesting. Lagway suffered a calf injury in July, but he's back now. So it'll be interesting. How do I put this? If there's going to be a team that upsets Florida out of nowhere, it's got to be after them beating Boise State. It has to be South Florida, right? Yeah. But my gut is telling me Florida is going to take care of business.
That's the thing about week one is like you don't know if it was South Florida good or is Boise bad. You know, like we don't know, so you can't really predict that. But I think I'll go Gators tomorrow.
Go Gators. Okay, I think I'll go Gators too. I think I
like Lagway. So
I like South Florida. I like to root for them because they're the underdog. But damn, that's a tough matchup. To be honest, I think I'm going to go Gators. That's where I'm going to go as well.
For sure.
Everybody hit the like button, turn on the notification bell. This is 4th and 10U, right? Subscribe if you're new. Appreciate everyone coming out. We're just fans giving our perspective. We're not experts around here. We're just having some fun. But you all have a good night. See you in the next episode.